What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. This is AOR, the championship where the best of the best from this part of the world come together and race against each other every Sunday night. This is the Malaysian Grand Prix, so I think we're 4 or 5 rounds into this now. The gap to Ryan, 17 points. Pretty disappointed in the end to lose more points to Ryan in the last race in Singapore. I really should have won that race and didn't do myself justice there on strategy. So from here on out for the rest of the season, I now kind of know what to expect strategy-wise, and that's what I'm going to be kind of gunning towards. So yeah, we'll see how we go for the rest of the season. But heading into Malaysia, I'm not going to lie, confidence isn't that high. I always do the best job I can around this place, but for some reason, or whatever else it is, I'm just never really that competitive around Malaysia, and I don't know why. I don't know if it just doesn't suit my driving style or what, but we'll see if we can kind of reverse that kind of history we've had with this Grand Prix. But so far we're sitting in P5 with a 1 minute 32.0. I mean, for a banker time, it's okay. It's nothing special. We kind of want to be in the low 31s, mid to low 31s, if we want to have a good grid position for this race today. So yeah, in terms of setup, I think I'm running with like 3.9 wings, so you need a little bit of downforce to get around this circuit. So that's what I'm going ahead with for this Grand Prix. So I think we improved by a couple of tenths in our second run there. We got a 31.7. We're still 4 tenths away from the pace set by Ryan Warden with a 1 minute 31.3. He is pretty rapid in the middle and third sector. We seem to be losing a lot in the third sector, and I think a bit of that is probably down to downforce as well. But yeah, that second last corner is really awkward to negotiate. Doesn't matter what F1 game it is, it's so hard to both manage braking and turning at the exact same time, and also maximizing the exit onto that back kind of straight. One of the most complex corners on F1, it must be said. But we head out now for our final run in qualifying. In recent, league races, I've always kind of been on the pace right from the start. Like in Japan for SRL, I was always in pole position, or in Singapore, I was always close to the front. But for the most part so far, we've been down the order, P5, P6. So hopefully I can pull out a bit of a clutch lap here and get myself towards the front. Ryan, having said that, is P5 as well. But as you can see on this lap itself, we're kind of just teetering on the edge of actually improving or not improving at all, which is a little bit frustrating, it must be said. We need to improve on this time as well to have a fresher set of tyres for the race, because we did the last run with 2 flying laps, and that's not going to be the best way to start the Grand Prix with a worn set of tyres. But through the penultimate corner, I think we got a nice run through there. We went from 400ths up to well over 2.5 tenths up. We'll get to probably at the end of this straight here. So braking for the final corner, just past the 100 meter board, turn in third gear. For some reason we pinched the inside front and lost a lot of time there, despite taking the corner fairly normally. But across the line we improved, but not by much, and I don't even think we moved up any positions at all. So it's P6 for the Malaysian Grand Prix. Dominator gets pole position, so great job from him there. 1 minute 31.1. I don't know, the time just wasn't there. I lost too much time in the first sector, and then there were too many small-ish mistakes that I didn't nail the lap. Yeah, it was just very patchy, it must be said. But we're off for the race now. You can see there 3.9 wings. If you want to know the setup I'm using, it's the TRL Limitless one he did for mastering Malaysia, I think it was. So that's the setup if you want to use it for yourself in career mode or league racing or whatever else. But we're going to be pitting on to the soft compound tyres after about 10 or 11 laps, and then taking those tyres to the end of the Grand Prix. That's kind of the best strategy to go about getting to the end in the fastest time. And here we go, 5 red lights for this Malaysian Grand Prix, and we are underway. We've got a lot of work to do in this Grand Prix, a lot of cars to overtake, and we need to get alongside New Zealand Ryan to have any chance of winning this championship. So as we head into turn 1, we got the inside of Warden. He kind of turns across us there, and he's actually kind of spun out there, and he's down the order. So contact there, warning for contact with Warden 99. We settle into P5 now. But yeah, a weird little incident there with Warden. I would have thought he would know that I was on his inside. You can see here as we head into the braking zone, he had all this time to see that I was up his inside. His indicator would have been flashing red, but I guess he just didn't see me there and turned across, and unfortunately he's been spun out there. In my personal opinion, I believe that is a racing incident, but you guys are 100% entitled to your own opinions. So, and I know that a lot of you guys will be sure to let me know about that in the comments. But anyway, getting back on with this race now, we're going to try and go up the inside of Jared there. He's recently changed his gamer tag. It was Hazardous Jared, now it's just DRC Jared. So I don't know if he's joined an esports organization or what, I don't know. But anyway, we're trying to get past him here. It's really frustrating because Ryan has actually got into the lead. Dominator has actually bottled it off this start. He looks really slow on this opening lap. He's already lost a second to Ryan. And this is really frustrating for me, being in a championship battle, seeing him get away so much and I'm just kind of stuck in this traffic. It's a really frustrating situation to be a part of. But now it looks like he's getting Dominator is getting overtaken by Prosser now as he goes up the inside into the final corner, side by side for the two of those guys. Actually, it was Dominator on the inside. He locks up his tyres and runs into the side of Prosser, and he doesn't get a great exit off the final corner there, and now he's under pressure from Jared. So Dominator, for whatever reason, I don't know if he has damage or if he's not comfortable in the race or whatever it is. He's just really slow, and it's kind of creating a massive bottleneck here as we kind of go on the inside of Jared there, turns to the outside for the next left-hander, and again we're stuck behind him as Ryan in that clear air is just getting away. So yeah, it's just a bit of a frustrating scenario to be a part of. We'll go up the inside of Jared here up into this next right-hander. We need to get these positions now. If we want to have any chance of winning this race, we need to stop the traffic that we're being held up in. But the move didn't work out, and Jared managed to hold around the outside there, and we're just going to have to settle in for now. I think as well with the higher downforce, it's going to make us faster in the race. I feel very confident, especially under brakes, that I can overtake someone up the inside into a heavy braking zone. But it's just the hardest thing is actually overtaking cars when you've got a setup like this. You've got the inside of Jared here. This is all very easy to go the inside there. We made what, 100 meters, 200 meters there in the braking zone. A bit of a swipe there from Jared, so I don't know what that was. Probably a bit of lag, but yeah, we got so much confidence in the corners and especially under braking, but we're not quite fast enough in the straights to really stick with them and put them under pressure in the actual overtaking zones. So if we're gonna get past Jared here, we're gonna have to make it stick in a not so conventional way, or an unconventional corner possibly. Again, we'll try this move up into turn 4, just like we did on the last lap. It's hard to get traction when you're caught on the inside there, and Jared will just get me there every time. So I think that might have been the last time I attempted that. We'll have to maybe set up the move after this set of double right-handers and then into the hairpin. He actually goes wide, bit of oversteer, and that is the position. I said it was going to be an unconventional overtake. There you go. Bit of a unforced error there from Jared. He seems to be doing that a little bit lately, so he needs to tidy that up if he wants to get some good results in this league. But it's P4 for us. Next up is Dominator. Like I said, he looks very, very slow in this phase of the Grand Prix. I don't know if he has damage, like I said, but we'll go the inside into the final corner. A bit of contact is made, but yeah, I didn't want to make contact there, so I'll just let him go straight through. I will not turn on DRS, and we'll give Dominator the place back. And we'll actually stick it in lean as well, so Dominator gets the place back. Because sometimes when you make contact or whatever else in AOR, if you have an incident with another driver, the best thing you can do is just let them go back through. And most of the time, if you do that, you'll show the stewards that, you know, you didn't mean to do such and such move, and you can carry on with your race, which we're going to do now. Back up the inside of Dominator into the next corner, and that is P3. No, not quite. He still holds that inside, just like Jared did. And this time, Dominator's really slow through that left-hander. He's definitely got damage of some kind. So, yeah, we definitely need to get past him ASAP, because he's just holding us up so much. Look at that. Look at the gap he's lost to Prosser just in these opening 5 laps. Something is definitely up with the setup of his car. He's not quite got the pace there. Up the inside, into the hairpin. That's P3, and we should have the move done there. We do. He's actually made a mistake as well. running completely wide, gave out the position to Master Berserk as well. So P3 now, we've got a bit of clear air to Prozza, next car ahead, who was 2.7 seconds up the road. We quickly evaporate that gap, as my English is really letting me down here. But yeah, like I said, I felt like I was actually quite fast in the race. I had a lot of confidence. It's just in the dirty air, stuck behind other cars, I couldn't really show it. But now up against Prozza, we are, yeah, massively quicker than him, at least a couple of tenths. He pulls into the pit lane before we can even attempt an overtake, and that is us up at a P2. Prozza has gone onto the medium tyre, so he's doing the kind of strategies I was doing before this race. So it'll be very interesting to see what his pace is like in the second half of the Grand Prix. He'll get the undercut by 2 laps. And he'll emerge a few seconds up the road in front of us, but we're going to be so much faster than Prozza in the second half of this race, so it's going to be a battle for P2 once again. But Ryan, a few seconds up the road, he pits on the exact same lap as us, so for once we finally have the right strategy, just not in the right kind of conditions. We're not close enough to Ryan to really challenge him. You can see he's probably the best part of 10 seconds in front of us already. That's just how much time we've lost in that opening 13 laps just by battling, getting held up by other cars and letting Dominator go through and all that kind of stuff. It's really put us out of contention of winning this race. But if we can get P2, that should be a solid damage limitation drive. Even though we lose 7 points, it's still, you know, better than finishing where we qualified, for example. Anyway, Ryan set the fastest up of the Grand Prix. I think it was a 34.6. We go and beat that by a few tenths. And that right there just reaffirms the pace that we did have in the race. It's just a real shame that we never qualified where we were supposed to. Which is probably the biggest thing to take out of this Grand Prix. You've got to be consistent, race after race. That's how you win championships, and Ryan is, honestly, he's really the complete package. He has not really put a foot wrong this whole season, and when he does, like in Singapore, he absolutely came back like an absolute champion. But we're gonna go at the inside of Prozza here. He really made that easy for me there on the medium tyres. He didn't have the grip to really turn in like I could, and I just kind of slid up his inside there, and that was so easy. So it's P2 now. With the rest of the Grand Prix, I was stretching out the gap to Prozza. I think it was like 5 or 6 seconds. The gap to Ryan was over 10 seconds. And, you know, I could probably match him, maybe slightly close him in a little bit, but that would have been too risky. So for what I did the rest of the Grand Prix was just kind of cruise along at a solid pace, making sure I didn't throw away P2, because I knew if I tried to close in the gap to Ryan, I would have really risked crashing out or making a huge mistake, and that probably wouldn't have been the way to go. So for the rest of the race, we were just cruising, waiting for the wet weather to come along, and this was probably the only opportunity I had to get the lead from Ryan, as if he massively made a mistake with the strategy, which he didn't. He pitted on the right lap, the same as us, and we just brought it home to the finish on intermediate tyres. So that was the race. Ryan wins. For us, it's P2, 18 points. Prozza home in P3. So in the end, the race went pretty well for us. We made some solid ground there. We had that incident there with Dominator near the start of the Grand Prix, and unfortunately, I can tell you I got a 10-second time penalty for that incident with Dominator, and so that means we lose P2 in the Grand Prix. So we're going to finish third, and Ryan is going to get 10 points over us in this race. So pretty frustrating, especially since I did let him go back through there. It was unfortunate that I think he did get some front wing damage from the contact that I made with him. So, you know, I'm not going to say the penalty was unfair or it was fair or whatever else. I'm just going to leave that to the stewards. Yeah, it is what it is. It's P3, 15 points, but a lot of work left to do in the championship. The gap is now 27 points, not 24, because the in-game standings don't reflect the penalty that has been applied after the race. So 27 points to Ryan. It's a bit of a gap to muster now to close him in the championship. I believe he may be missing the next race, so we'll have to wait and see how that goes. I don't really, it doesn't bother me if he's racing next week or not. I'm still going to go out there and try and win the remaining 5 or 6 races or however long is left, and hopefully win this championship on track. So yeah, got to sort out my consistency, work on setups, just get the complete package going. and then we'll see. I've really not been able to show my true pace, especially in the races so far this season. There really were a few instances where I really should have won some races where I finished P2. So that's where we stand at the moment. Got a lot of work to do. Hopefully in the next race, we can sort it out.